Hi, my name is Jason Lanier. We're here at the Celebro Studios here in downtown London. And the Rhodolite guys, the team here has asked to interview me to answer some questions. They've watched all my videos and they think there's a lot of questions I haven't answered. And they think that it would be beneficial for me to explain these things to you guys. So here we are, and I hope this is beneficial. And as you can see, I have all my toys behind me, Rhodolite and Sony and all the other such. But I hope this is beneficial to you guys just out there who want to know a little bit more about me. And I have the, what is your official title?
Managing Director.
Managing Director. In other words, he's the most important guy with Rhodolite asking me all of the questions. So, carry on.
So Jason, what got you into photography, and can you remember the first time you picked up a camera and decided that you wanted to be a professional photographer?
Yeah, what got me into photography, my dad was a hobbyist, school teacher, but I followed him around, and we went to the Carlsbad Caverns when I was a kid, about 7. And I watched him with his old, you guys call it a Nikon. And he would take these pictures in complete darkness, and then we'd get home. It's the old days, of course. And a couple weeks later, we get the pictures back, and I'd see these pictures of caves and formations and light, and it was amazing to me. So I think that's what really got me interested into photography. And then fast forward, I did a paper route for 2-3 years when I was about 12. And I saved up all my money, $500, and I bought my first Nikon. And I absolutely loved it, and I started shooting with it, and I've shot my whole life from that point, but I wasn't very good. And then I started professionally. I did it when I was in hotels. I'm not someone who drinks. I haven't had a drink my whole life. So when I would go out when I was in the hotel industry, I'd go out and people would drink, and they drink heavily, and I would go out and take pictures. And I started doing that when I was working in the hotels, and I started putting up pictures all around my office in my hotel. And people said, you should be a photographer, and I was volunteered to do a wedding. I did it, loved it, and I left hotels and started doing photography 8 years ago. And I absolutely love it, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be able to pursue my dreams.
And is there any particular type of shoot you like doing, or type of work you like doing?
You know, I think like most photographers, there are several different things we like to do. I think when I'm at my absolute most happiest time, I love shooting models. It's very engaging. I love shooting beautiful women or handsome men. I really do. I mean, it's like an adrenaline rush. I love shooting those types of things, but quite frankly, when I'm really when I feel like I've become one with nature or God, it's when I'm out there in the middle of nowhere shooting a landscape, and it's just a surreal out-of-body experience. And sometimes you get these shots that take your own breath away, and to me, that's what photography is all about.
And you've been all over the world shooting now. Tell us about some of your favorite shoots and what destinations you've got coming up.
I've been enormously blessed to be able to shoot all over the world. Still to this day, shooting the Glencoe Highlands in Scotland was, heaven's breath. That picture, that journey was tremendous. I've shot Africa is definitely up there. From Kruger National Park, shooting the animals. I was there by myself for 3 weeks, just living off of protein bars and water bottles. Shooting in Ethiopia, doing something from a humanitarian standpoint was very important to me. And then a place like Alaska. Alaska's just, if you guys haven't been, it's stunning. And I've shot, I think 5-6 continents. So yeah, I've been blessed beyond measure, and it's been great. So upcoming, we're leaving the UK. We're going to New York in a couple days. Then this year we're going to Ethiopia again. We're going back to Mexico. We're going to be coming to Australia. I love shooting on Australia, by the way. But yeah, we've got some amazing things coming up. And I'm usually in 4 or 5 different countries a year, and at least 20 different states a year in the U.S.
And you've developed now a really loyal internet following, and I think you've had over 1 million views on your YouTube channel.
Almost 3 million.
There you go. Why do you think it is so many people are liking what you do? What is it about your style and the way you do what you do that engages people?
Great question. I think that when I only started doing YouTube seriously a year ago. And when I looked at the YouTube landscape, there's some great people out there. I'm not demeaning any YouTuber, really not. But I think what was missing was just, this is the way it really is. And a lot of photographers give advice, and some are very blunt like me. But I think what the market was missing was a photographer to actually show what real shoots look like. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's not all Hollywood production and everything turns out great. I think people respond to that. I think people respond to the blunt honesty. I have sponsors. You're one of my sponsors. If your product stunk, I wouldn't use them. If they weren't the best in the world, I wouldn't use them. And I wouldn't recommend them to people. And I think people have really latched on to the concept of, I'm only going to tell something. I'm only going to tell you something, my YouTubers, my fans out there. I'm only going to say something if it really is true. And I think they love watching the urban exploration. They love watching these crazy places. They love going places they'll never go, either because they don't have the funds, the time, or the money, or they're scared to death to go some of the places I go. So I think that's why people really latch on to them. And it's crazy. Some of my most popular videos are me just talking about gear. So I think people just have really grabbed on to somebody being real with them.
And on the subject of gear, you famously moved to Sony. What made you, do that switch, and what's in your bag? A lot of the time, what's the favorite stuff you carry with you?
Yeah, people think that I'm a Nikon basher. I'm not. I still have a little bit of Nikon blood running through me. It's just from my dad. That's always going to be in me. But I switched to Sony because Nikon and Canon, just quite frankly, they are not innovating fast enough. They make great gear. They do. But it was the innovation that really wanted me to move. I'm not bashing the other companies. And with Sony, it was they're always progressively thinking about, they're giving us what we go to bed at night and we think, geez, if my camera would just do this, or if it would just do that. And I think that's what's so key. I think the other thing that's important is the mobility with the gear. The fact that it's so light, so mobile, and I can just do what I want with it. I think that's key. What's in my bag? I have 3 A7s, A7R, A7 II, A7S, A6000. I have about 5, 6, 7 different lenses. Here's some of them. 16 to 35 FE lens. Here's a 28 to 70 Sony A mount. I'm using the LA EA4 adapter. Here's the best lens in the world. It's the 135 1.8 Zeiss. Here's the 70 to 200 Sony FE lens. And then the 55 Zeiss. Bunch of different lenses. Great stuff. I'll always have a flash with me. I think photographers, you should always have a flash. And something that I use, like I said earlier, 70% of the time are my video lights and my continuous lights, which of course are my roto lights. So they're the Neos. And so when I have a go bag, when I have something that has to come with me, it's 2 video lights, a flash, a bunch of lenses, bunch of batteries, bunch of memory cards, and 4 camera bodies.
One of the big, kind of hot topics in a lot of photography magazines at the moment is continuous lighting, and more photographers are becoming aware of it. For you, what are the advantages of working with continuous lighting like the Rotolight Neos?
Well, the Neos are fantastic. Previously the RL48s, and people know that I have been a huge proponent of the Rotolight RL48s, and they're great lights, but these Neos are 5 times brighter. They're powerful. And why do I love using continuous lighting? I got into it 6-7 years ago, about a year after I started shooting professionally. And they give me the opportunity, especially when you couple them with a system like a Sony, where you have the live view and you can see your picture come to life in front of you. I think that's critical. People miss out on that. When photographers, we're so backwards thinking sometimes. And we want to, we chimp, it's what we call chimping, where we look at the shot after the fact and then, oh crap, that stinks, oh crap, that sucks. And then we fix, shoot, fix. Now it's the complete opposite, and that's the way photography should be. We are looking at what we're going to create before we fire a single shutter. And that's critical for you cutting down on your workflow and everything else. And if you're not cutting down on your workflow, you're not making money. So the continuous lighting gives me the ability to do that. It gives me the ability to have a more soft light. It gives me the ability to be very mobile. I can set up these Neos anywhere very quickly. The setup time for off-camera flash is longer. You're hooking up external battery packs. You're hooking up heavier light stands. You're hooking up soft boxes, beauty dishes. And I like something that is very mobile, very compact, again, like my Sonys, and something I can take anywhere. I can take these. I can have all this gear, all this lighting with me at all times. Like when I'm going to New York next week, and I can just shoot and fire. I can do it handheld, I can do it on a tripod, monopod, whatever it is. And so I can't recommend these lights enough. I love them to death.
And what kind of application can these lights be used for? Can you use them for macro, They're good for event. What type of applications would you see them being used for?
Yeah, somebody like me, I really do shoot a lot of different genres, and macro photography, these are fantastic. I have a video of me using the RL48s that I did a couple years ago, just doing wedding ring shots, but these are fantastic for macro photography, even for like wildlife. I mean, if you fire a flash at an insect and you're shooting a 100mm macro, the insect's going to just fly off or run off or whatever it might do. Or similarly, birds or whatever else. If you use these video lights and you attune the light or your subject to the light source, you slowly dial it up, they're not going to run away. You can get some amazing shots doing that. I do a lot of event photography, whether it's a wedding, whether it's any type of event of that nature. I'm always doing wedding photography or event photography, and these are amazing. I'm telling you guys, if you keep firing flash at your subjects, first dance, daddy-daughter dance, whatever, they'll come up and tell you, I'm kind of getting sick of the flash. Can you please tone it down on the flash? And you really cause a scene. You're pop, 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 and you take the attention away from whether it's a toast or whatever else. When your guests understand that you're using this, when your clients understand that you're using these, within 5-10 minutes they're used to them and they love them. So these can be used for, continuous lighting can be used for a variety of different events. I've even used them for landscapes where I've set the lights in different areas as accent lighting, or especially on a long shutter exposure. You do some really cool things with these lights.
And how do they compare to other continuous lights that you've worked with?
Yeah, I've used pretty much all the different types out there. Clearly there's something I haven't used, but I've used a lot, from the tube looking lights, the little lightsaber ones, to square lights, and those have their applications, but the reason I love these is because it gives me catch light. It gives me a really wide throw. It's very soft light, and I think, again, guys, when you're talking about video light, the main difference between video light and flash is the proximity that you're going to use it to your subject. If you're using video lighting, if you're using continuous lighting, the whole purpose is to have a softer skin. If you're getting that close to your subject, guess what? You're going to want a round light, because that round light is going to get caught in their eye. So I don't really understand. I'm not bashing other people. I don't understand why other manufacturers don't get that. I'm really glad you guys do, and that's why I use them.
Mm-hmm. And has using continuous lighting changed your workflow? Do you find it speeds up your shooting? Can be more creative? What are the advantages like that?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. I teach workshops all over. We were in New Orleans a couple weeks ago. I'm sure we have it on tape. We brought out some lights, and the workshop was great. They loved it. But there was a gal there, and this happens almost every workshop. And we were shooting in an old abandoned warehouse district in New Orleans. And I always teach my people how to shoot by building up steps, layers. And so I say, first we're going to add the backlight. You expose to the background, add a little bit of backlight, whatever it might be. But then I said, now watch. It's almost like, I said, watch my screen, since I'm using live view. And the minute I pulled up that light, she started literally crying. She said, oh my gosh, I get it. Now I can see how beautiful your shots are. So the advantages with the continuous lighting is I can set up the lights. I can move all around 180 degrees. I can shoot whatever I want. The lights stay on. There's no recycle time. The lights stay where I need them to stay. They're very easy to use, and it's really changed my career. People ask me all the time why my shots look different. Some folks think it's editing. It's not editing, it's lighting. Photography is all about lighting, and if you have something that's available to you that enables you to get your job done more easily, then you should do it. From a workflow standpoint, the fact that I'm not taking junk shots, I'm not deleting shots where the flash didn't fire, which every photographer has happened to them, that's tremendous. And not to mention the fact you can be shooting an event like at a wedding where you could have a magical moment happen and you miss it. And I challenge any photographer out there to say that hasn't happened to them, where they've missed something amazing. So these lights make it possible. And
in terms of continuous lighting, the final question that is, what advice would you give to someone who is maybe an aspiring amateur, or someone who's worked with flash their whole life, who's nervous about moving to continuous lighting? How would you reassure them, and what would you say to them about making that jump?
First off, if you struggle with flash, you're going to love lights. You're going to love continuous lighting. You're absolutely going to love it. If you are good with flash, you're probably not going to use your flash very much once you start using continuous lighting. Continuous lighting is the way of the future. I know it's been around for a little while now, but I'm telling you what, it is the way of the future. And so I would tell anybody out there, what you should do is really take a look at what kind of photography you do. If you do require flash, if you do require any sort of additional lighting, continuous lighting will be much easier. And I'm telling you what, your shots are going to be better. And it's just easier, guys. I'm telling you. I'm all for tools that make our jobs easier. And continuous lighting, it's incredibly easy once you know what you're doing. You mitigate shadows, you have softer light. And we're going to be doing a series of videos that show people just how to do it.
And finally, on a lighter note, Jason, what's the one standout moment or funniest moment you can ever remember from a shoot that you've done that's really stuck with you all this time through your career? Is there any particular one moment that stands out for you?
Yeah, I think when I got caught in Six Flags New Orleans, the cops showed up and we dropped to the ground because we didn't know who it was. We just saw a big bright light. And then they're doing the flood lamp in there, and we stand up and he says, "Come on out here," with our hands up, and I've never been arrested. He says, "Come out with your hands up." And we stood there, and when he finally let his guard down, he says, "You know why I came out here?" And I said, "Well, because you thought we were in the park." He says, "No, we heard the Ferris wheel was haunted and that it was moving. So we came out here to capture video of the Ferris wheel moving, and then we had a model there in a wedding dress." He says, "So we saw this white thing running around, and we thought it was an apparition." So he says, "So believe it or not, when you guys came out, we were just as relieved as you are that you were actually real human beings." So it was a light moment. It was very fun. But yeah, we have a great time, and I think that all good photography boils down to you getting out there, trying new things, having fun with it, and stretch your creative zone, stretch your comfort zone, and do things you thought you'd never do, and you'll be amazed at what you can create.
And if anyone wants to find out more about your work or is interested in coming to one of your workshops, where can they go?
It's super easy. They just go to jasonlanierworkshops.com. At my workshops, I teach a variety of things, how to use DSLRs and mirrorless. I teach how to use off-camera flash, high-speed sync, continuous lighting, and posing, lighting, exposure, a variety of things. I don't focus on one single thing. I focus over 2 days or more on the entirety of photography. And so if they go to jasonlanierworkshops.com, they can find out about my workshops. If they want to view or purchase any prints, they can go to jasonlanierphotography.com. And if they just want a good old-fashioned website, they can go to jasonlanier.com.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, brother.
Thanks, guys, man. I think
Oh,
you're
good.
gonna love that.
Perfect.
Let me see it.
It's better than
Perfectionist.
That's a wrap. That's what it said.
Can we do a close-up? I would try to get the rotor lights in it. I mean, any else?
Nope, you got it.
Okay.
Good
There you
job.
go. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
We'll be doing it again soon. Thank you guys for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for subscribing, for being part of my team on the YouTube channel. And get out there and have fun, guys. Don't ever let people tell you not to pursue your dreams. If they do, kick them to the curb. Find people who are positive influences in your life. And remember, like I always say, you only have one chance to get it right. Bye. Let's roll, guys.